Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who was wisdom? Who was the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahushai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, this topic today is going to be about a video that was shared in the comments. It was a link to this story from the History Channel, I guess, right here. It's called Explore the Lost City Beneath London. And let's see here. Cities of the Underworld. I'm going to leave the link to this video in the description box. It'd be a really good idea to check out the video because it gives you a really good visual of what we are talking about. I need to see things visually. I don't do well with just looking at it just one way. I can read it, but then when I see it visually, then it starts to make a lot more sense to me. So everybody learns differently. Well, when you watch the video, you're going to see how they always try to act like Rome is the ancient. Rome is the first city, and that the English and everybody else built up after Rome. So you look at like Rome would be the foundational church, and then all these other churches were built after Rome. This is an example of one in the story and the video. It's about 22 minutes in, start around 22 minutes, and it'll start talking about the churches and how they built up over all these churches. But the first one at the base was Rome. Now, as you know, we've been talking about Rome, and we're talking about how they did not even know about this place. They did not know about Britain. They did not know about, Ireland. They had been kept away from all these places. So when they came in, they built up over what was already originally there. And what was originally there would have been our people. Because remember, Caesar comes in and starts to talk about or describe the Druids. So the Druids were already there. Druids is just another word for a priest. I'm sure there's more. There was people there. They had their places of worship there, and it was the Romans that built up over the original inhabitants, our people. They just go through the scriptures. Holy means separated. That's the Most High had it with us. We were separated. They were not allowed to come near us until the Most High allowed them to. But see, history has just erased us out of the books until now. So Rome wanted to go around and make it seem as if they were the ancients. They were the first ones that got to Britain. And that later on, once they left, then the other Anglo-Saxons, as they call them, so-called white people, built up, their places over the Roman establishment. But see, in that last video, when the guy was talking about how the original people were black people that were here, that were in Ireland. And the other guy kind of got all like, he's like, dude, don't be telling them all that. We've all come together to hide all that information, and you're just blurting it all out. Maybe I'll leave that link to that video in here as well. I should probably just keep linking these videos into these videos because you kind of have to go back and take a look at it, but it all starts to make sense. So watch the video of, the History Channel, and then check out these books that we're going to bring out that totally goes against what they're saying. I tried to share one of the new books I'm going to bring out here on Patreon so they can try to get a chance to get it before I did the video. And then the book already skyrocketed to, someone was already saying, over $800. Hopefully they can find it somewhere else. He's like, I hadn't even made a video on it yet, and I didn't pay $800 for it. So it's just crazy. But it just shows you what's going on right now. It shows you how they can't opt out of this Black history as much as they've been trying to all these years. Hiding our history, telling us where our history began, telling us that our history began with slavery on the west coast of Africa. Now you understand why. Because there's a whole section of history that they've been trying to keep for themselves or hide altogether. So now, once you watch that and you see them all, and they were talking about the drainage systems, they were talking about all these different things, and they were always giving props to Rome. They were talking about how the Romans built all this stuff, and they had like a bathhouse, and they had stuff that we actually use today, like a furnace. I was like, you really think those people had all that? Those were our people. They came and took our people, they took our inventions, and then gave it to themselves. But we're just going to read a couple of quick books to kind of go against that. First one, I hope some people were, actually able to get this book, The Lay Hunter's Manual. You didn't even realize we're going to be talking about Rome and destroying that whole that whole nonsense about them being the first ones here. They admit that they were not the first ones here, and that they had a policy of building their churches over the so-called pagan sites here. But see, they leave all that out in these historical, documentaries or whatever else. They don't tell the truth. So check this out. I made a video on this before, but let's just go ahead. I'm gonna get it from a couple of sources. Okay. Stop at the first paragraph. There is satisfactory documentary evidence. Okay. Hold on fast. And Bade says, and other authorities, that although at the earliest coming of Christianity, pagan sites were banned. Okay, and I'm going to explain what pagan means later on. Okay, so when they first got here, the earliest coming of Christianity, that would be the Romans, as they call themselves, okay? Pagan sites were banned. There came a time in Augustine's work when this policy was reversed, and orders came from Rome to build the churches on the old pagan sites. That is the markstones or mounds of the laymen. There seems to have been the policy with earlier religions for the word pagan indicates country. Okay? So country sites. So they went in and they just built on top of the country sites, as they call them. See, they say pagan as a bad thing, but they knew it wasn't a bad thing. So they just called them country sites. And the Romans, in their occupation of Britain, not only adopted the old mark sites for their altars, but dedicated them to local out-of-door gods. So they're sitting here telling you, as they do these documentaries and they do these shows, they tell you that the Romans were the first ones to set up these churches. The Romans were the ones that set up these places. But they had their own policies of just building over our sites. So that a lot of these documentaries and these things that are saying, like I said, it's just propaganda. It's just, hey, let's just make sure we set up the Romans as the top. The Romans are the epitome of Christianity. And then that goes back to also, remember the video I just did about them coming to the Americas and them having to decide what they were going to do because they had set themselves up as the epitome of Christianity, the all-knowing, the Pope is God on earth, but yet they didn't have access to England or Ireland. And then they didn't even know about this huge landmass over here. So how can you sit there and say that you know everything and that God is working with you when you had no knowledge of the lands over here, of the Americas. So that's why nothing before Columbus mattered. That's why they didn't accept anything before Columbus, because they wanted to be looked at as the epitome of knowledge and religion. All the while, they had a policy of just going ahead and building over the sites of the so-called pagans. And we see here again, pagan just means in country. Just means indicates country. That's it. So if they would just dig underneath these Roman areas, they would actually find our churches. Just like in Cholula. That's a prime example right there, where you got this pyramid, is absolutely huge and enormous and absolutely beautiful. And all they did was cover up some of it and build a church on top of it. That's a prime example of the Romans right there. And you can tell that the pyramid in Cholula is way more advanced than that little itty bitty church they threw on top of it. And they're always like, well, we don't know who built it. They always play the dumb role. We don't know. Aliens. It was aliens. Always. Okay. This was the book I was trying to get you guys to be able to get before it went up so much. Hopefully some people can find it cheap somewhere. Maybe someone doesn't know what they have and they put it up for cheap. Because I know on some sites the books will go up ridiculous. Like actually, one of the brethren sent me a picture of the Secret Voyages book, and someone was selling it for $2,000. And I think a lot of us bought it for 20, 25. They still had a couple there for 40, 50 bucks, but somebody had one there for $2,000. So Druidism. Okay, let me get it here. The Ancient Faith of Britain by Dudley Wright. Let's see here. Try to read the inside cover. Dudley Wright in London, E.D.J. Burrow and Company, Ltd. Central House, 43, 45, and 47, Kingsway, and Cheltenham, something like that, 1924. Okay, almost 100 years old. But let's read something from this book, just to kind of give a second source of what was in the first book we just read. This is great information right here. I'm going to go here in the middle. It was the custom among many ancient peoples to erect a stone in commemoration or remembrance of any benefit received at the hands of the Supreme, the Most High. Such practice was particularly observed among the Jews. Jacob, after his wonderful vision, rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillow and set it up as a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. He did the same thing when he entered into a covenant with Laban. And when he is said to have talked with God at Bethel, Joshua built at Gilgal, a word which means a circle, a temple composed of 12 stones. And when he had assembled the children of Israel within this temple, he told them that when their children should ask them the meaning of the stones, they were to make answer that it was the acknowledgement of the power of the eternal. The custom of venerating Beit Elah, or consecration stones, and worshiping under oaks was diffused over both hemispheres. Okay, so everywhere. This was diffused everywhere. In the remotest periods, so a long time ago, way before these Romans showed up, okay? The existence of stone monuments, whose antiquity is undoubted by archaeologists, is proof that learning and culture existed in Britain long prior to the Roman invasion. So there's all this proof that there was all these things going on. This culture existed in Britain long prior to the Roman invasion. So again, see, they start everything at the Roman invasion. This is telling you that there was already culture here in Britain long before. Okay? Britain long prior to the Roman invasion. Before even the what? The foundation of Rome. So telling you that the ancients had already set up, these cultures in Britain way before the Roman invasion and way before, right, the foundation of Rome. So Rome is not the ancients. Rome has nothing to do with these ancient periods. They weren't even a country at that time. They weren't even a thought at that time. But they come in way later and make it sound like they've been here the whole time. You see how we catch them, how the Most High is bringing all this information out. It's just absolutely awesome the way the Most High is moving right now, the way He's exposing them. This is telling you right here. We're going even further. We're going further than their Roman invasion. They're saying that even before Rome was even a foundation, was even a country, that these people had things going on. They had culture, and our culture was spread worldwide. There you go back to Solomon. There you go back to Solomon and his navies going worldwide. Just because the Romans said that wasn't true, didn't make it true. This is exactly why you cannot just read the Bibles that the Roman Church has approved, because we had records way before they were even established as a country. So you're going to let someone come in way later and tell you which books are good and which ones books are bad. They weren't even a thought, but they have that kind of authority. That goes back to the Imago Dei, them actually, Most High saying everybody's, equal. But then in the Imago Dei, they put our people at the bottom and put themselves at the top with no authority whatsoever. They just want blind allegiance, and that's exactly what they have. I want to read that part one more time. The existence of stone monuments whose antiquity is undoubted by the archaeologists is proof that learning and culture existed in Britain long prior to the Roman invasion, before even the foundation of Rome. Stone circles are common in America. In the province of Coimbatore in India, and over all northern Europe, as well as in several of the islands of the Mediterranean. Sir John Chardin says that he saw in Media a circle of stones with the traditions of the people living near, in singular conformity, the Grecian and Celtic customs, ascribed to chaos or giants, who, wishing once to hold a council respecting some matter, brought each his official seat and left it. When the meeting broke up, as a wonder to men, the explorations of the Ordnance Survey in 1869 proved the existence in Palestine and Arabia of circles, nearly identical in character with those which in England and Scotland are commonly called Druidical circles. So you see, we were all over the place. So that's why John, relegate us to just one little small part of the so-called Middle East is just backwards. So you have Druidical circles in different places of the world. In Germany, as in England, the oak was long regarded as a sacred tree. Solemn assemblies were held beneath it, and decrees were often dated. I'm going to try to read that right there. Scandinavian folklore ascribed man's origin to the oak or ash, a myth also prevalent among the Romans. The Arcadians believed their ancestors were oaks before they became men. So as you can see, these books give the information that they've been hiding in Rome and all over the world. It's not even just the Romans; the whole world is confederate with hiding the fact that we were all over the place, all over the world. Now, see, now when you go to movies really push these narratives too. I love watching the movie Gladiator. At the beginning of the movie, these the Romans are actually in other parts of Europe taking them down. And they always represent the barbarians as these, dirty white people, as barbarians. Okay. But now, and they're going in, Rome's going in, and they're, showing how they're coming in and just destroying, everybody and taking over everything. And I was like, hey, that's true. But why don't you show who the real people were, who the real original people were that were there? They were our people, the Israelites. Now you understand why Paul, around the time of the Romans, right, is going to, Britain. He's going to Ireland. He's talking to the Druids, his brethren. Now it all starts to make sense because we were there before the Romans. Our ancestors were there. They don't want you to make that connection because they've taught you that they were the originals. They told you that they were the original people there in Britain. They came in and took over from the barbarians, but these barbarians were Hebrew Israelites, Most High's chosen people. Absolutely amazing, is it not? How all this information is now coming together. So they've had their time to raise themselves up above everybody, make it seem as if they were the originals, make them seem as if they were, the ancients. Now history is telling on them. Now the Most High is revealing the truth. He's bringing out these books. He's bringing out this information. And that's why we are working together, to get this information together and get it out. So the Most High, he always has to set the stage. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's setting the stage. He's bringing out this truth. He's getting it into the people's, minds before the destruction really starts to ramp up. People here, the ones who are not called to this are worried about, getting things back to normal. As opposed to learning about what the Most High is doing. Learning about the Father. Following his ways. Cleaving onto his people. Because these books, like I said, those were just, half a page, a little paragraph, and that just destroys everything that they've just been putting out for centuries. So they're pretty big books too, so there's a lot more information. Actually, I have other information for other videos as well. But that at least will, anytime they try to push Rome as being the ancients, you guys can show them this video. You guys can show them these books. You have plenty of ammunition now to destroy all that, all that BS, all that garbage. And then even ask them to prove their point, which they're not going to be able to. That's why they ignore everything that we bring out, because, they can't explain it away. We're living in wonderful times, brethren. Keep studying. Keep doing the will of the Most High. Keep planting those seeds as well. As the Most High builds us up, like he said he would, he's going to do what to the other nations? He's going to sweep them off the land accordingly. So the more people that start to believe in the truth, he's going to sweep the ones that are producing bad fruit off the lands. So if you're still thinking about going back to normal, and that's what you just pray for every day, you might want to reconsider those thoughts. Because now the genie's out of the bottle. There's no putting it back. So choose this day whom you're going to serve. The priests of Mahan and their insignificant powers, or the Most High. You choose. All praise is to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.